Yeah, Cole, obviously you mentioned it. You know, you were in Arizona this training camp in the last 2 years, and during that time, it felt like the Kyler, noise around him got so loud, whether it was the stipulations in the contract or, what he was doing in his free time, and people were kind of piling on him a little bit. As someone who is as close to anyone to Kyler, especially just seeing his day-to-day process, what is that like? What did you think about, what people were saying about Kyler, especially as someone who knew him pretty closely? And then since you had the training camp, Jonathan Gannon, when he came in, what was kind of the shift in the building, would you say, from the previous regime to the now Gannon regime?
Yeah, good questions. I think I'll hit the Kyler one first. Listen, I was around Kyler for 2 full seasons, almost 3, and I love Kyler. I don't think people understand. First of all, how intelligent he is, how smart he is. He knows the game really well. Plays it off of feel better than anybody I've ever been around. Like things that he can see and feel that's coming. Like I think that's why the offense with Cliff, he gave him some flexibility to be able to see and get to things and check out of some things. Like Cliff trusted him to do some of that. Then he experiences his ACL and his knee, and anybody who's gone through that is obviously a really tough thing to go through. But he's worked really hard, and I would say that he's played really, really well coming out of that. And listen, Kyler's a good person. Like, he's super sweet coming over to the house, hanging out with my kids, playing wiffle ball with my son out in the front yard.
Oh,
like we spend a lot of quality
kid.
time
He's
together.
cooking your kid in wiffle ball. Yeah.
Hey, my boy Jed's got a swing now. He might be a baseball player. We'll see.
Oh, hey, whenever fire that pitch skin, boy. Let's find out. You know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, like, Kyler's the ultimate competitor, right? He gets inside those white lines, like he wants to win, and he holds people to a high standard. He holds himself to a high standard. A lot of times that comes off as like, kind of extreme, body language, those sort of things, but it all comes from a good place. And I mean, Kyler's one of the best athletes I've ever been around. I mean, he does things that, nobody that I've been around can do. He's fast, he's quick, he's shifty, and he puts the ball in the money. He's accurate.
Yeah.
And for me playing quarterback, I don't care if you're 6'5" or if you're 5'10" like Kyler, like putting the ball in the money is what the game's about. And he does that consistently. And it's impressive. And, listen, I got a front row seat to it. I hope that he, continues to play great and has a lot of opportunities and stays in Arizona and all those things. But I'm a fan.
How about Gannon whenever he came into the building? And Gannon and Kyler have had a little back and forth now where Gannon came out and said he's 1,000% sure that Kyler is the start of the future. And then Kyler came out and said, I run through a wall for Gannon because I know he always has my back. Did you get to experience that? Did you get to meet Gannon at all? And what are your overall thoughts on it? Because all we saw from him early was when he was introducing himself to some players, and he said, pew, pew.
Explosives.
It was hard. That was tough, dude. We all saw it.
Yeah.
We didn't want to. We had to, though. The Arizona Cardinals putting that out, too. Social media, it's a whole nother animal. But, it seems like him and Kyler are working. What do you know about it? And have you heard from Kyler throughout this season?
Yeah. Hey, listen, again, is a great dude. I think that whole staff, Monty, leading the front office as the new GM, hiring Gannon and his staff, like they're all really, really good people. I know they released me, but I think anytime you have a new staff and new regime, like you got to give them some time to do what they want to do and get their people in there. I've unfortunately been through coaching changes a lot in my career, and I was there to play for Cliff and for Keim and for that staff, right? I would have loved to stay and, kind of lead the way until Kyler got healthy this year, but I totally, I'm good with it. Like I know what that's like. I've been around long enough. I'm a vet. And I think Gannon's a really good coach. I think, he came in and he set the expectations and made it very clear to everybody what the goals are, how we're going to do it, what it's going to look like day to day. And I know that Gannon has a picture of what the Arizona Cardinals team needs to look like. And, he's on his way. I mean, they had a huge win last week. They've won, they've been competitive, right? Their offensive line is playing good. Kyler's playing good. James Conner's a monster. They've got some good receivers, and Nick Rawlis as the defensive coordinator, young guy. I got to spend a ton of time with him, talking ball, I think he's one of the best young coaches I've been around in a long time. Brilliant. And so I mean, I'm bullish on the Cardinals. I think they're a good staff, and I think they'll figure it out. And again, like, I have no hard feelings. Like, I love the game, and I know where they wanted to go. And my elbow was banged up, and I get it. But I'll always love the Cardinals.
I love to hear the way you described that whole thing there, because there was probably a conversation where you're like, you guys are trying to find your guy. Like, I could potentially be
to help out
your guy too. You know what I mean? Like, there's a chance. But then you said, I get it though. Because that's what happens. Regime changes. There's a lot of, and people don't want to talk about it. It's certainly ego. They don't want to chat about it. But it's like, who's going to get the credit for this team? If it happens, that's just a matter of reality for the judgment of general managers. That's just how it goes. It's even still happening in Pittsburgh, kind of, all the way up until this point, about the beginning of the Tomlin era and everything else that's kind of taking place. That's how they're judged. So I see why they do it. But every once in a while, you think, like, whenever the Colts changed GM and head coach, Peyton Manning got cut, obviously. And everybody talks about that. But, like, he's not the only one. Like, Dallas Clark, get the hell out of here. Gary Brackett, get the hell out of here. Charlie Johnson, Jeff Saturday, like, legends. Ryan Dean, get the, like, Joseph Adai.
What?
Yeah. Dominic Rhodes, I'm just going through it in my head. Our whole team basically just got cut, except for me, Robert, Reggie, and Adam Vinatieri. That was pretty much it. It's like, I was way too young and dumb to say anything, but that was like my first time really seeing it all take place. Like, oh, they want this to be in their image almost, in their name. And obviously 13 years at the quarterback position, you've seen it as well. I appreciate you not having any hard feelings. And I think that Cardinals team has a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that city's awesome. We love Phoenix, so I hope that team gets going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be the greatest destination for any free agent. Phoenix, Scottsdale, the weather's phenomenal. Like, indoor stadium on grass. It's a great place.
And all I see,
golf mecca.
Do you golf? I assume you golf.
Yeah, I love to golf. Here we go. Got to put my Matthew Travis.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
We go play some golf.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to golf in a cowboy hat. But yeah, every person that ends up going to the Cardinals, all their social media turns into in the offseason is them golfing at 5-star golf clubs, every single place.
That's right.
Going to have to figure it out at some point over there. I hope they do.